Welcome, everybody. Today is Thursday, December 26, 2024, and a special post-Christmas Thursday edition of the Q News Review with Mike King. Of course, my name is Dave, and with us, as always, from realnewsandhistory.com, the one and only Mike King. Of course, anytime we can bounce some of the craziness off of the mind of somebody like Mike King, we certainly want to do that. And even though it's a holiday week, there is no shortage of insanity going on. But before we hop into it, Mike, I want to tell you a story that I think you'll probably appreciate. What most people watching would appreciate it, and I think it's it's reason for encouragement. You know, I think we talk about this all the time. We've hit a point where they've made the public narrative so insane that the normies, whether they know it or not, they're starting to ask questions. Certainly not to the level of what we know, but the subway fire, the drones, just the insanity of it all. So just a little tidbit, a little update from my Christmas dinner. It's no secret. I've talked about it. My brother, God bless him, tried telling him about this stuff like 3 years ago, and it didn't go well. There was, I think, police involved at one point, and wellness checks, and whatever. All the things that you probably expect a normal person to think when you start telling them about this stuff. But it was interesting. We were sitting around at dinner at the Christmas Day dinner last night, and he actually looked at me and he said, Dave, actually, there's something I want to pick your brain about. And I was like, do tell. And he said, what the hell is going on with these drones? And I said, you want my real answer? He goes, no. He goes, because you seem to actually have some clue as to what's going on and nobody else does. What is it? And so I told him, I said, well, dude, there's three different things it could be. It could be a foreign military. It could be our military running some kind of secret covert ops. I said, you probably heard about some like missing nuclear material and all these things. He's like, yeah. I said, well, in both those situations, if it was an enemy or our military running covert ops, would they have their running lights on? And he goes, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. I said, well, then the third option is we're doing it, and it's a complete show. And he actually looked at me. He said, okay, well, tell me why. And I explained. I said, don't you hear everyone talking about how inept the government is, inept the FBI, the military? It can't get anything done. How could we have this happening? People are getting a little scared. I said, you're seeing all that, right? He said, yeah. And then I went back to, I said, do you remember what I started telling you about what we're living through and what they're doing? And he actually looked at me and he goes, dude, that makes a lot of sense. So I think it's gotten to a point now where he's hearing so many different crazy things going on. Yeah. He's like, you know what? Let me reach out to that local conspiracy theorist I know.
That's right.
And ask him what the hell's going on.
They've brought society to a point now where it's kind of fashionable to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's going on? And even when you read the New York Times articles, the spin they put on, for example, this drone situation and other stories, is what isn't the government telling us? What do they know? Okay. So that's conspiratorial thinking, and that's where we want people to start thinking along those lines. It's socially permissible to not accept the line that's being fed to you by the government through the media, and that's a very important accomplishment and a very important first step as we move into the other stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. And you've been saying it from the get-go. That we call it reruns, instant replay, whatever term you'd like to apply to it. But you've had the best way of presenting it. One of the best ways I think I've seen, where you're explaining to people how, in order to stimulate this organic awakening, they have to recreate events in real time, let people see things again, and that's what we've seen with so many different narratives we've seen deployed. And then some of it, I think, like this is a good segue into the to your point about it becoming fashionable, right? Well,
Yeah.
why is it becoming fashionable? Because of everything we've been showing on these different podcasts over the last few years, the insanity of it all. And I think we're hitting a point where, look, if this is a military operation and you think about the incredible precision it's taken to put all this together, well, wouldn't logic tell you that if they wanted to make a migrant attack in the subway where somebody is lit on fire, if they wanted to make that look real, logic would tell you they could make it look real, right?
Yeah.
So the question becomes, why didn't they?
This was like you said, it was obviously fake. And it has to be intentional. I mean, the woman is just standing there on fire, and she's not collapsing, rolling on the floor, screaming, and nothing. So that was there has to be a purpose to making it so fake. And again, it's promoting this habit. It's putting people in the habit of doing just the most fundamental critical thinking.
That's the natural question that the casual observer will give to a Mike King or to one of us is, okay, I get it, I see it, it's fake, but why? Well, my answer to the why would be is it depends on where you are in your consciousness. The people that I think maybe to normies, if they didn't see it was fake, well, then they're getting bombarded with the look at what can take place in a city without a rule of law. Look at what the unchecked migrant crisis has done, right? That's one layer. The secondary layer would be what I always call the Alex Jones awakened, right? The people that know there's a deep state, they have an idea that there's media manipulation. What are they saying? They're saying, well, this is fake, but they think the deep state did it to try to inject fear into us, right?
Yeah.
And you know what's great? Both of those work because it gets people, that middle group. Well, there's still a lot of people in this country that don't yet understand that they will do that they will stage events like that. That's what's going to lead to the truth about a Sandy Hook, right? So that middle group of people discussing this and seeing it in real time is getting to do that. And then obviously people like maybe my brother and some other people that are more towards that normie world, well, it's just enough to make them further question what they're seeing. And that will lead them to kind of, I believe, move up into that next group. So that's I think that's an important point to remember, to look at how far we've come. On that topic, I wanted to start out, I figured you'd be a perfect person to discuss this with, because so much of what we cover here focuses on the notion of narrative seeding and D-class. And I think we got a pretty interesting one out of our friends at 60 Minutes on Sundays.
They must be under submission now as well, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, it's Leslie Stahl, and this was this past Sunday, the 22nd. And the notion is apparently that she scored an interview with a Mossad operator. And I want everyone to listen carefully. I might pause it at a couple of points, only a 2.5 minute clip. But let's take a listen to what I believe is a great example of soft D-class, prepping, especially the people that would still watch 60 Minutes, prepping them to understand some of the truth about not only what our intelligence agencies are capable of and what the truth is with Operation Mockingbird and all those other things. But obviously we know there's a layer on top of that with Mossad that goes into the media and Hollywood and sports, everything. And I found this very interesting. So let's take a listen.
An explosive device that couldn't be detected into the battery.
Correct. Made in Israel.
At Mossad?
Yes.
As I understand.
Sorry, let me give you the context. What they're talking about, Mike, is she's asking about how the pagers and how they inserted it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That these walkie-talkies went into a tactical vest that a soldier would put on, And then this would go in the pocket
Correct.
near the heart.
Yes.
So Israel sold this device to Hezbollah. Hezbollah paid for this weapon that was to be used against them.
They got a good price.
A good price that couldn't be too low or they'd be suspicious. In the end, Hezbollah bought over 16,000 of these exploding walkie-talkies that Israel then didn't activate for 10 years until 3 months ago.
How did you convince Hezbollah to buy this?
Well, obviously, they didn't know that they were buying it from Israel.
Let me interrupt. Mike, first off, just your initial impressions.
I got a number of them.
Have at it, man. Just
Well, first of all, I don't think that's her, because she certainly would be on that Q list of enemy journalists who would have to be dealt with because she's so biased. But whether it's her, whether she's been replaced or she's under submission, people could debate that all they want. The important point is that this segment here, clearly, I could tell a few seconds in, is part of the Q operation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So apart from her appearance not being consistent with who I think she is, but we'll put that aside, just the mere mention of the term Mossad, you're more likely to hear them drop the F word on 60 Minutes than you are ever mention Mossad. Yeah. That's astonishing right there. Okay. They're not supposed to even exist. And then beyond that, this is like really conspiratorial, heavy duty conspiratorial intelligence activity. They sold it to them 10 years ago, and then they activated. And anybody watching this, the wheels have got to be turning, even for a normie. These are easy calculations to make. You start thinking, wow, Mossad, very clever, very cunning, very conspiratorial. They could pull off something like this. That's exactly where we want people to start thinking. Perfect seeding. Again, no way this happens in the real world, and no way is the Mossad going to allow some guy to come in, and that's all hokey too, with the mask, and he's covered and he's speaking in secret. No, that's not how it's done.
Right.
They would never even take credit for something like this. If they ever did, it would be 30 years after the fact, just to kind of boast about it.
Exactly.
So on so many levels, this is not real. This is part of the movie, but it's beautiful for what it's accomplishing. And again, we go back to that theme. It's becoming socially permissible now to make these kind of speculations because of stuff like this.
Who did they buy it from, or think they were buying it from?
We have an incredible array of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel, shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Oh,
that is almost a direct quote from the Ghosts in the Machine video from the Fourth Psychological Operations Group. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, let's tell the world how we operate. Sure. Okay. And it's a confession.
Yeah. And
to see this on 60 Minutes, never, this has never happened before. This is impossible. This is all Q. This is Leslie Q. Stahl right here.
Exactly.
And I don't know who this character is.
It's amazing. It really is. Yeah. I'll play out the last minute.
This is Mossad's old office. Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery, kind of like the CIA's smoke and mirrors, which is what this operation was all about.
Expensive price.
Mossad wanted to use the name Gold Apollo on its pager, so it set up shell companies, including one in this building in Hungary, to dupe the Taiwanese into partnering with them.
So the company in Taiwan, Gold Apollo, did they know that they were working with people from Mossad?
Golda Polo had zero clue that they are working with the Mossad.
And neither did Hezbollah.
When they are buying from us, they have zero clue that they are buying from the Mossad. We make like Truman Show. Everything is controlled by
The Truman Show.
us behind the scene. In their experience, everything is normal. Everything was 100% kosher, including businessmen, marketing, engineers, showroom, everything.
To further the plot, Mossad hired the Gold Apollo saleswoman Hezbollah was used to working with before. She offered them the first batch of pagers as an upgrade free of charge. By September 2024, Hezbollah had 5,000 pagers in their pocket.
Wow. But that's perfect prep work. This is what I mean by seeding and tilling the soil of the hardened soil of the normie mind, I call it. To see something like that. All of this is being normalized now on the left and the right. More and more each day. And that's a very hopeful indicator. But if you can isolate Mossad from the Jews in general, you get around that Pavlovian reaction that people have. Oh, it's anti-Semitism.
Right.
No, I mean, she's ripping the Mossad. How many times did she mention the word in that piece? Mossad, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, just in that little sequence alone. Boy, that is, I gotta tell you, as somebody who's been at this game now for like 30 years, what you just saw there is a historical impossibility for a report like that.